The village of Lukoma had always been a quiet, peaceful place, nestled deep in the African countryside. But lately, something was wrong. Dark rumors spread about a curse tied to the village, and as night fell, a cold, strange wind whispered through the trees. Naya, a young woman who had left the village years ago, had returned after her grandmother's death. Though she had promised never to come back, something had drawn her home. As Naya stepped off the old creaking bus, the villagers watched her with suspicious eyes, whispering among themselves. Her return was not welcome. Their hushed words sent chills down her spine. Despite the unease, Naya pushed forward, determined to uncover the truth about her family's past. As at when she stepped off the bus, the wind seems to whisper her name, Naya. She brushes it off as nothing, but the moment she enters the village, she is greeted by a haunting sight. A man lying dead in the middle of the main road, his eyes wide open in terror. The villagers are too frightened to touch him. One elder, Mama Ayo, steps forward, glancing at Naya suspiciously. Mama Ayo, softly, almost accusingly, said to Naya, "He died because you came. The wind carries your family's curse." Naya is taken aback, but refuses to believe it. She has come for answers, not superstitions. She had heard rumors that her great-grandfather had disappeared in the forest years ago, and that his actions had brought misfortune to their bloodline. But Naya didn't believe in curses, and she wasn't going to let old village legends scare her. However, that night, everything changed. Naya settled into the small, dimly lit house she had grown up in. Exhausted from her journey, she tried to sleep, but the wind outside carried an unsettling sound, whispers, faint but growing louder. Suddenly, the candle beside her bed flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. Her breath caught in her throat as a shadowy figure appeared at the foot of her bed. Its form was indistinct, but its presence was suffocating. The figure leaned closer, whispering in a voice that chilled her to the bone, "You shouldn't have come back." Naya wanted to scream, but the sound was trapped in her chest. Her body was frozen, and the figure moved closer still. Just as she thought it would reach her, the wind rolled through the window, blowing the figure away like mist. Shaking, Naya sat up in bed, gasping for breath, but the figure was gone. The room was empty again, but the fear remained. The next morning, Naya left her house, still trembling from the encounter. She needed answers. The villagers eyed her with suspicion, as if they already knew what had happened to her. Their stares made her uneasy, but she pressed on, heading towards the home of the village elder, Mama Ayo. Naya knocked on the old woman's door, and Mama Ayo greeted her with an expression that told Naya she had been expecting her. Naya, shaking, said, "I saw something last night. A shadow. It spoke to me. What's happening?" Mama Ayo nodded gravely, ushering Naya inside. Mama Ayo told Naya, "The spirits of the forest have been restless ever since your return. They remembered the path your great-grandfather made, and now they come for you." Naya felt her heart sink She had heard whispers about the curse, but no one had ever told her the full story. Naya asked, "What part?" Mama Ayo sighed, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Your great-grandfather, Obasi, was a proud man, but his pride led him to make a dangerous deal with the spirits of the forbidden forest. In exchange for power and wealth, he offered them something sacred. He betrayed the village, and the spirits took him, never to be seen again. Since then, your family has been cursed." Naya, in disbelief, said, "But I wasn't even born then. Why am I being punished for something that happened so long ago?" Mama Ayo shook her head. "The curse does not care about time, Naya. It follows the bloodline, and until the debt is repaid, the spirits will haunt you." Desperate for more information, Naya sought out the village elders, who had always known the village history better than anyone. She stood before them, demanding answers about her great-grandfather and the path he had made. The elders were slow to speak at first, but under Naya's persistence, they finally revealed the truth. Chifaduke gravely said, "Obasi sought power beyond what any man should possess. He believed the spirits could give him dominion over the land, but the price he paid was too high. The spirits claimed him, and now they wait for the rest of your family." Naya, angry and scared, "What can I do? How do I end this?" Chifaduke answered, "The answers lie in the forest. But beware, Naya. The forest is alive with their presence. If you go, you may never return." That night, Naya made the decision. She couldn't live in fear any longer, and she wouldn't let the spirits control her life. Armed with only a lantern, she ventured into the forbidden forest, the place her family had been warned to stay away from for generations. The deeper she went, the more the air around her grew colder, and the whispers of the spirit grew louder. The trees seemed to bend towards her, their branches reaching out like claws. The wind carried her name, Naya, Naya. Suddenly, she came upon an ancient stone altar, covered in moss and strange markings. At the center of the altar lay a blood-stained dagger, just as Mama Ayo had described. Naya's heart raced as she stepped closer. But before she could touch the dagger, the shadowy figure appeared again, this time more solid, more real. It loomed over her, its voice deep and foreboding. "You cannot escape the past, Naya. The sins of your family will consume you." Naya stepped back, terrified, but she held her ground. Naya firmly said, "I didn't ask for this, but I won't be afraid anymore. What do you want from me?" The figure didn't respond, but instead, it raised its hands towards the dagger. The wind howled, and the forest seemed to come alive with energy. Subscribe, like, and share as we wait for the next episode.